The show opens with Alex Marvez, who is at Will Ospreay's hotel. Okay. And he runs into Will, and they're going to the venue, but the tires on Will's car were slashed, so he might not be able to make it, but then he basically bums a ride off of Marvez. Let's just go through the full opening segment, right? Let's before I myself go any further. MJF comes to the ring. He's greeted by cheerleaders. He puts himself over, calls Will Ospreay's dead grandmother fat. If you did not hear the promo, that is exactly what he did, and I invite you to go check it out. He then says the AEW Championship is worthless. It used to cater to the fans. It used to be beloved by fans because it was held by workhorses who tried to get the crowd's affection by working hard, whereas working hard is for poors, and he is not one of us. Therefore, he calls the crowd who supported this belt unpatriotic and treasonous, which is really funny that you would be unpatriotic to America and treasonous if you support hard work. I cannot but not find that funny. I'm sorry. Like, maybe I'm thinking too deep into this, but to me that's really funny. And then he tosses the International Championship into a trash can. He says that he deserves a title that represents himself and the best country in the world. So he unveils, it was already in the ring under a cover. He reveals the AEW American Championship, all gussied out with red, white, and blue, and the whole 9 yards. An extremely gaudy, tacky title, which is perfect in the circumstance, if you ask me. And he says, this gets USA chance, and he gets USA chance, and he says, no, this is not for you. This is, we're only going to talk about the only real America. And that's Long Island, New York, where of course he's from. Then he gets the streamers being shot out of cannons, and an American flag unfurls, which I thought was really funny. And instead of there being stars on the stars and stripes, it's MJF faces. I like it. This is the side of Max that I really like, and I don't know what to tell you. Like, this is the kind of stuff that when he does it, I think he can get away with it really well, because he's able to balance this. He's able to balance between like really dickish heel and campy, and I don't think he gets enough credit for that. I swear that, there are so many people who are still like suffering from PTSD from 2023 MJF. When, I think people are extremely unfair to him when he's able to pull off stuff like this. I thought this was, I enjoyed this. I thought this was good. And then Will Ospreay shows up and runs MJF off, right? And then he cuts a promo. He said, basically says, you couldn't beat me. That's why you had to cheat. You're not on my level, etc., etc. And then says, I talked to Tony Khan and Scrap Daddy Christopher Daniels. He didn't say Scrap Daddy, but he talked to Christopher Daniels and Will, and he's getting his rematch at All In. So that's the segment, which overall I thought was really good, and I think I got props to Max for coming out at the top of the hour when wasn't this like the Joe Biden farewell tour was about to start, right? Like, good on him, because everyone is expecting Dynamite to get murdered in viewership, right? What would you rather watch? I know I'd rather watch MJF, but because particularly one thing is I'm not American, so whatever's going on with Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I'll figure it out one day. It doesn't really impact my day to day, as opposed to perhaps many of you. I know I'd prefer to watch a little pro wrestling. Let me tell you, even though American politics these days is like pro wrestling. So overall, the segment was really good. I thought it was a successful segment, not without some quibbles. Here we go. What was the point of doing the hotel tire slash angle if Ospreay's just going to show up anyway? What's the goddamn point? I don't understand. I honestly do not understand. And, he could have just been sitting backstage and waiting for Max to do his thing and then do the run-in. I don't know if they felt like they really had to ultra justify why he wouldn't run out from the start. I didn't know why he ran out in the first place all that much, Yeah, to me that was silly and unnecessary. But see, this is what happens when you have all these creative people backstage and they're like, we got to do something different. And when I say I'd like AEW to do different things than WWE, I don't mean this. Because this is very much a WWE thing. It doesn't make sense. Why would we go through, he's not going to make it to the arena on time? I mean, the hotel must be really close to the arena, and there must have been zero traffic. Because he got to the arena, parked, jumped out, ran out, and made it to ringside, he being Will Ospreay, within like 10 minutes. When you start to think about it, it makes even less sense. Something that they had set up to make sense of something, but then when you start putting a little logic to it, you're like, this doesn't make sense. I guess the hotel must be annexed to the venue, right? Or on the other side of the street. And if so, then who gives a fuck about using a car? Like, none of this makes sense. The more you pour into it. Everyone's more stories. The stories, these types of stories don't work. They just don't. And then, you want a good example? MJF says, not MJF, but Will says, I talked to Tony Khan and Christopher Daniels, and they made the match for Wembley Stadium at All In. Okay, so what are the Bucks doing? Who is in charge? Why do the Bucks have any kind of modicum of authority? Who cares at this point? Like, there's like 5 different people that can make decisions. 4. It's like, this just, like, backhandedly, this just adds a little more cold water on the idea that the Bucks are in charge or that they have some authority. It doesn't matter. Tony Khan was tweeting yesterday about the Blood and Guts match, saying that, high stakes, the fate of AEW rides on this match. I'm like, what fate? There are no stakes for AEW in itself in this match, which is part of the problem, which is why the match didn't have any heat. There's no stakes. What fate of AEW? In Tony's mind, did he create this canon that whoever wins this match takes over AEW? If so, that was never communicated to us, and it's all existing in Tony's brain. Because as it stands, everyone has authority and is on an equal footing. Because no one interferes in anyone else's stuff. You want an example of that? The following segment. Bryce Remsburg shows up into the locker room, the Bucks locker room, or the Elite's locker room, I should say, to do the coin flip to see who gets the advantage in the Blood and Guts match. And then we come in, and the Elite Sans Hangmen are all like standing over Scrap Daddy Christopher Daniels, who got beaten down. And Remsburg goes, okie dokie, we're going to flip the coin. But instead, Matt Jackson gets to use a two-sided coin, or coins are a one-headed coin. What do they call it? It's a double-sided, not two-sided. All coins are two-sided, you dummy. Double-sided coin is the term I was looking for. And they do it, and the Elite get the advantage, and then Matt Jackson like flips the coin right in front of the camera and says, fooled you. So the referee doesn't give a shit that the official has been beaten down, doesn't give a shit that the Elite cheated and flaunted it on TV. But not only Remsburg, but neither Tony Khan, who's supposed to be the boss of the place. And he's back in control. This has been established when he drove Darby Allin back that one day. And remember, the Elite were supposed to be in control until Tony Khan comes back. Tony Khan is back, and the Elite are still doing whatever the hell they want. So, again, I don't understand what's going on here. But Scrap Daddy and Tony Khan, they're doing Scrap Daddy Christopher Daniels, right? They're making matches. And the Elite make matches. This story, this authority figure thing, as many predicted, and somehow I crossed my fingers and wished upon a star real hard that the Bucks were going to do something different, that this was going to work out. But it turns out everyone was right. Authority figure angles always end up being nonsensical, full of plot holes, full of logic gaps, wide as a canyon, where you're like, what is even going on here? Why didn't Tony Khan step in and say the towing cost is invalid? Why did you beat up an official, an AEW official, and even on top of that, why weren't both teams witnessing the coin toss? Coin toss, I was about to say. That's pretty funny. But for real, wouldn't you do that in front of both teams? Like, I know that's what they do in football. You have the team captain or representative or whatever the fuck. I don't know. And they both go to the middle of the field to do the coin toss with the ref. Like, why are you just doing it with the Elite? You see what I mean? None of this matters because it doesn't make sense. The minute you start putting, you start sprinkling a little logic on it, the entire thing falls apart. It's the weakest structure ever, where you're just, you're spreading some salt on top and it just comes all collapsing. So you see, it's the same, none of it makes sense. And they think they're being super creative and, oh, what a great idea, when they're doing enormous plot holes. Just things that just don't make sense.